All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to School Marketing Day. I hope you're having a great, informative day. We are super excited to share a presentation with you. And our presentation is called Welcome to Admissions 2020. And we're going to talk about how you can combine your online virtual tour with a self-guided tour to showcase your campus. And this is a case study between Circlescapes virtual tours and Marin Country Day School. I am introducing my colleague here, Jamie Moffitt, who's the Director of Admissions at Marin Country Day School. And she's been there for about 18 years. And I partnered with her to create their virtual campus tour. My name is Lisa Franzino, and I'm the founder of Circlescapes Virtual Tours. We've been a Finalsite partner for many years and have been working with independent and private schools since about 2008. And I'm going to turn over the presentation now to Jamie, who's going to talk about how they created this fabulous self-guided tour.
Thank you, Lisa. It's been so great to work together on this. And I was realizing as we were putting together this presentation, how our Circlescapes tour is part of almost every part of our admission process this year for families. So since everything is almost all virtual this year, we're so lucky to be able to add this in-person weekend tour to our lineup of admission events. So we have 3 virtual offerings for families going through the process, as well as these weekend tours. We've added a lot of resources to the website. Thank you, Finalsite, about distance learning and our reopening plans and distance learning and hybrid and schedules and all that, because that's what we're hearing a lot of questions about from parents. All of our parent interviews are on Zoom. I just got off of a bunch of them right before this meeting. Our receptions will be virtual. All of our assessments will be virtual. So it's virtual. So to replace those traditional campus tours that we normally are able to offer families, where they can really see life going on in the classrooms and kids and teachers interacting, we did start this summer with publishing the Circlescapes tour on the website. We also are sort of complementing that, which is also going to be within the interface of the Circlescapes tour. Program and place video that's about a 30-minute video tour of the school. So that's all in one place. We're also having virtual admission visits that are sort of quick hour-long visits with our head of school and our admission team and our parent volunteers. And then on the weekends, we're able to offer these self-guided family tours of our campus. And I'm going to share a little bit about how we're using the virtual tour to complement those. So the virtual tour that we worked on with Lisa this summer is really has been a highlight of re-envisioning our process. One of the first things that I was impressed by is she had shown us an example of a watercolor that had been done at another school, and that immediately to me spoke to kind of the mission and the feel and the look of our campus. And the artist that worked with us was able to integrate the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco to really show how close we are to the city. We're just 20 minutes. Half of our community commutes from San Francisco and half are from Marin County. So this was really important to us that we show that proximity to the city. These are some examples. This is the first example of all of what Circlescapes can offer in terms of our step-up area. So this is one case study of 14 spins that we chose. Our step, Lisa, are you going to actually show the spin?
Let me click on it.
So when you go into one of the 14 spots, that's the one. And you spin, you can kind of see the expanse of our campus. This one particular spin really sort of shows the acreage, the 35 acres that we're on. It also showcases our library to the right. So this was one sort of no-brainer spot for us to film. And then when you go back into the last slide, oh, you can also see the slideshow here. So this was something, and putting still photos in within the spin so that people can click on a little photo icon and see a slideshow was really helpful to us, because our step up area and many of our spots on campus, like I would imagine with many of your schools, are used for different things. So since we were showing the step up area empty with no students in it, the slideshow option really allowed us to show our welcome flower assembly, that where we welcome the kindergartners to our community, our MLK March assembly that happens every year and ends in the step up area, our step up day, which is our graduation ceremony. And it's also a makers area, and we've got ping pong out there at recess. And so it was really a great way for us to be able to say, like, here's our step up area, but these are all the different ways we use it. And there's an information icon to be able to click on as well, to just provide a little thumbnail about the area. Same here with Culinary Farm. We have multiple gardens on campus, and we didn't want to just show one. So we were able to use the slideshow piece to highlight the garden in the lower school that's used for, like, a lot of our art supplies. We were able to highlight the outdoor oven that we have, the greenhouse. So it really was an opportunity to show a lot about our program in one spin, as Lisa calls them.
Mhm.
And then the self-guided tours are another way that we've been able to really utilize Circlescapes in a way that we didn't even think about when we first contracted with them. In fact, I got the idea from talking to a colleague up in Portland who was going to be able to do this on their campus. We're able to have families staggered in a totally socially distant way. In fact, it feels like when they're on campus, they feel like they're completely alone because they're coming in at 10-minute increments. And we do have tour guides throughout the campus who are just there to answer quick questions and make sure that people are on the right path, but families don't need to interact with them if they don't want to get close to anyone. All of our buildings are closed and locked, so there's nothing really to touch. They're just here to interact with the campus. In fact, our playgrounds are even roped off to kids, but one of our parent tour guides, who I have to give lots of credit to, created this beautiful scavenger hunt for kids. Hand-drawn beautiful scavenger hunt, so that when the families are on campus, they can come together as a family, and their kids can see the campus with them, but they also have this way of interacting with the school since they can't use the playground. They can see the creek, they can see the chickens, and then we have a self-guided map. The map that was the watercolor that you see here from the interface of Circlescapes, we used to draw a path on. And then we also were able, this was the really cool thing about the Circlescapes piece, is that we were able to put a QR code on the back of the map so that when families arrive, they can also read about the different points of interest as they travel through the school. So what we did was we used the same points of interest from Circlescapes for our self-guided tour. And then some tips and tricks were that we used those same spots, the 14 spins, and we actually ordered these signs, these green signs that you see here, and marked each of the spots and used the same information that's on the Circlescapes tour as like a little, almost like plaque at each of the areas. And so the nice thing about this is it didn't take us any more work. We didn't have to write new descriptions. We didn't have to record someone's voice saying anything. They just used the QR code and they were able to follow along just like they would on the Circlescapes tour, but actually in person. So this is just a photo of a family that went through a couple weeks ago.
That's great. And it really just ties it all together. Well, I'll take it over from here and talk a little bit about the process that we went through to create the virtual campus tour, and just working with Circlescapes in general. The components of that process are going to be creating the campus map, targeting the points of interest for your tour. In other words, deciding which shots you want to include, and then the day of the photo shoot, things to consider, as well as adding in all of that other content like your photos and videos, and then putting it all together, a timeline and some general cost ranges. So in creating the campus map, the first thing to do is determine your budget. And that's going to help inform the style of map. This is an example of a cartoon style map, and that's going to range from $5,000 to $7,000, really just depending on the size of your campus and what you're planning on including. There's a lot of variables that go into costing the map, but just to give you an idea. And again, there's the different styles that I'm sharing with you now. The cartoon style map, this is a 3D map. This is an example from Pace Academy. This map is going to run between $4,500 and $6,500. The watercolor map that is so beautiful. This is a different example. This again is an actual painting that is scanned in and digitized, but you also get that painting to hang on the wall, which I think is a really nice touch that would look great in like the headmaster's office or in the admissions office. And this is a little more budget friendly as well. It's $3,000 to $4,500. But in addition to deciding the style, you want to consider what you're going to include. The borders around your campus, maybe including city landmarks or even an outline of the city, a bridge, or any natural points of interest like a mountain or a nearby pond or body of water. All of that can be included to show proximity to some of those landscape features. This style is a two-dimensional map, and these are the most budget friendly, but can be very impactful and graphic as well. And just anchoring, it helps to anchor that tour with our ability to plot the different panoramas and hotspots on the map. It gives that tour another layer of interactivity. So what we're going to need from you when we're designing your map are reference materials, anything that you have really like aerial shots, old maps, any drone footage you might have, or just going around the campus and taking pictures with your cell phone to give us a little more information about the detail of that campus. Of course, the panoramas become a good reference once we get those as well. So when you're thinking about what points of interest you want to include in a tour, we always recommend that you choose representative spots that are really going to give a nice, well-rounded feel for all of the different programs you have. You know, pick a couple of shots in your performing arts department, in your academic department, in athletics. You get the picture. You also want to include money shots. So if there's any really beautiful spots on campus, which I'm sure there are many, sometimes it's narrowing those down, but if you've got a wonderful facade or an architectural feature, you might want to include that as a panorama. And then think about the stops that you normally take people on an in-person tour. Those would actually make great places to include in your virtual tour, since you're probably going to be using that now to walk people through on a Zoom call. And then, of course, you want to get a nice mixture of interiors and exteriors to showcase the exterior of the campus as well. Once we're capturing the 360s on site, it takes about a day for every 15 to 20 shots. It can take a little longer if you're including kids in the shots, a little less time if you're shooting that campus empty. And that's one decision factor. Do you want to include kids? And if so, in which shots? And what kind of action do you want to see? Are they doing a sport? Are they studying? Things like that. We're going to send you a preparation checklist to help you prepare those spaces in advance. But essentially, you just want to clean and declutter the spaces. It's only going to be one photographer on campus, but you'll want to have some staff members on hand if we need to do any heavy lifting, like moving desks, things like that. And then the final wisdom is just to be a little bit flexible with your schedule. We always want sunny blue skies, and you can't always predict those. So sometimes best laid plans, you need to shift gears and race outside to get the shot, you know, when the sky clears up. All right, another component of the project will be adding in content from your asset library to help tell your story. So you're going to pull things like, of course, your logo, your branding materials, maybe some drone footage for your splash screen, images and videos that can help support the storyline of those spaces that you're choosing to highlight. And we can also include links back to your website, PDF downloads, or even forms that people can fill out right in the virtual tour. And then once we have all of that content from you, we're going to put it all together. So the process flow is kind of highlighted here in this slide, but the takeaways are, it's a little bit of effort on your part to gather up some of that content. We estimate about 2 to 3 weeks for that process. Of course, Circlescapes takes the shots on campus, designs the interface, and builds the tour. The total project is going to take about 4 to 6 weeks. Of course, in working with Finalsite to upload the tour to your website, that's a very easy process. You're just going to open up a support ticket, give them a URL that we give you. They upload it to your web server and give you the link then to add to your website and the buttons on your website. So again, 4 to 6 weeks is an average timeline, and an average tour cost is around $10,000. All right, I'll let you take it away from here.
Well, a couple things that, as Lisa was talking, I was thinking about is how very easy this really was for us, because I know that one of the things that a lot of admissions people are right now is pressed for time and feeling like, how could I ever take on something like this? But I think the fact that Lisa and Jared are so involved and so there and responsive really helped us like manage, kind of project manage everything as well along the way. And we were very, very busy this summer adding, thinking about how we were going to assess children and thinking about new kinds of events, and also like participating in the leadership teams, just big decisions that we had to make. So the fact that there was someone to help with that was really, really helpful. And also one other thing I was thinking about as Lisa was talking is the how it might take longer and it might be more difficult during COVID to have kids in the shots. And so that's where we use like our archival video footage, and that's where we use the slideshows to help those spaces come to life, because it might be much easier and healthier and faster to be able to do it on a weekend when kids aren't around. So I was thinking about that. But in general, like what we have experienced with COVID is a real opportunity to re-envision everything that we do in admission. And so this Circlescapes tour, as I said, has been part of almost everything that we're doing this year. It's really increased our admissions collegiality, both in the Bay Area, where we created a kindergarten screening as a group for kids that's going to be video administered by parents, and also connecting with people nationwide. Like I said, speaking with someone in Portland who gave me the idea for the self-guided weekend tours, hoping to lessen stress on families. It's also, been shown that when families have the chance to preview a campus and the buildings before coming for the first time, that it can decrease that level of intimidation, especially if it's a family that isn't familiar with independent school. And just the fact that we had the chance at our school to be able to actually bring families to see the campus and use Circlescapes in a way to complement that experience, we feel like we really, really are lucky there. And having a virtual tour, we feel like it's going to be useful for years to come. It doesn't just feel like something that's going to be useful during COVID. COVID was the impetus for us. But as I said, having families be able to preview the campus before they come, having people who are not in the Bay Area be able to take a look at it, or even people who are very close being able to see it and figure out if it's something that they want to take the next step on. We anticipate having this virtual tour up for years to come, and we also will add to it as we go. Once you do it, it's not the final draft. Lisa can keep coming back and adding shots and adding spins over the years. So we're happy that this is like as Lisa says, a piece of collateral that we can keep adding to for years to come. So we loved working with Circlescapes. We're super happy with how we were able to use it this year during this crazy time. And we hope you found it useful, and thank you for spending time with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. Of course, if you have any questions, please reach out to me at Circlescapes or Jamie at Marin Country Day School. Have a great school marketing day.
Yes, have a great day. Bye-bye.